Hi, this is Steve from yourcreativelife.com, talking today about more writer's room weirdness. And today's topic is one of the more annoying things that does and can happen in a writer's room. And that is they dissed my character. Basically, what this means is there are moments, and I've had this happen to me, where I introduced a character in the writer's room and made a suggestion about a particular energy, perhaps an ethnicity, said, it's a black character, or it's a queer character, or let's say you're a female writer in the room and there are a lot of men, and you're like, well, this woman is, I came up with her, and here's the idea. And one of the things that does happen is that if you have a showrunner who is not in the pocket with your vision, who isn't, perhaps black, queer, female, trans, whatever it is, that showrunner may or may not get, understand, or be able to support true and good storytelling around your character in the story at large. So this is incredibly frustrating, as you can imagine. And it's one of the reasons that I think it's very important for different ethnicities and different types of people to be in writers' rooms. When you get shows that are created by all one type of person, you get all one type of character, or you get their projections about who these other people might be. And that's a real problem. So if this ever happens to you, as it's happened to me, I think the thing to do is to find a balance between politeness and clarity, to say, here's my experience with this sort of thing, and this, and this, and this wouldn't really happen. Or perhaps this and this is a way we could go because he or she would be dealing with X or Y. And here is the bottom line with those sort of suggestions. First of all, you got to do your best in terms of making those suggestions, but you also have to recognize that the buck doesn't stop with you. And that's one of the challenges. If you're not the showrunner, at the end of the day, the showrunner and the studio and the network get to decide things about characters who might look like you, feel like you, be like you, but who they don't understand. And unfortunately, at the end of the day, you can only push so many times. You can only make so many suggestions. And I would say, do your best. Don't become a nuisance or annoying, because that is a way that, again, in the problematicness of the potential problematicness of some TV situations, you might get either sort of shunted to the side, or feel some kind of way if the showrunner has some issues with your suggestions or with your tone or whatever. So you really want to be careful. But I am here to tell you that I do support you in advocating for your character. And yet, at the end of the day, as a matter of survival, as a matter of groundedness, to recognize that ultimately the decision is not yours. The other thing, too, that I remember saying to a writer, a friend of mine who was having this particular issue in a room years ago, is that if the show does air in a way that your character is dissed, it's actually rare or unusual, perhaps it would never happen, that somebody would come along and blame you. If you're like, third writer from the left, or the second co-EP, or like, staff writer number two, or, those sorts of people in the hierarchy, nobody's going to come to you and take you to task. So, yes, so advocate, recognize this happens, let people know in a clear, concise way, and then be ready to let it go at the end of the day. Because sometimes, if you're not in charge, you just have to go the way the wind blows. And it's not a democracy. And in that way, it's a good thing to know as you go into your writing career that in the world of TV, there are kings at the top, and they may or may not be you, which is also why I encourage you to hang in there to become the king or queen of that space, so that you can help make those decisions for the characters that you respect and that you're interested in. Go to see everything, soup to nuts, that I do for coaching at yourcreativelife.com, including links back to this channel. Give this a thumbs up, and also check out the Beyond the Script podcast. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.